This final interactive lesson in our series addresses norms. Without norms, we cannot have standardized tests. Some might say, that's a great idea. Let's go back to the old way of doing things. But we cannot go back in time. So let's move on to our foundational understanding of norms for your future teaching. Norms, reliability, and validity are all interwoven and are the basic concepts in descriptive statistics. Remember, in education, who are we describing? The student. Not Norman. Norming. As we have discussed, when publishers create a test instrument, they evaluate the quality of their test instrument by using it on a sample group of people. A norm group should include a minimum of 500 to 1,000 people. Yet often for standardization, formal tests such as IQ tests and state achievement tests, more than 1,000 students are included. This group is referred to as the norm group or sampling group. The results help them improve the test instrument right down to each test item, timing, content, etc. This process is called norming. P.S. Norman was a 1964 rock and roll song. My 8th grade class sang it to our teacher, whose first name was Norman. Boy, did he laugh for the first time that year. Not really. Principles are important concepts we need to know. The 3 basic principles and norms are representativeness, using norms correctly, and quality norms. Let's examine each principle. Number 1, representativeness. The concept of representativeness refers to the fact that the norm group must include individuals from different backgrounds, characteristics, and experiences. Quality representativeness match the population of the society. So in the USA, test publishers must look at national statistics and match the population. For example, if the USA population includes 10% Native American, 25% African American, 45% Hispanic American, then the norming group should use those same percentages. Schools, educational diagnosticians, psychologists, speech pathologists, ELL evaluators, and teachers need to check the test instrument's norming group to see if it matches their school population. If it matches, then the test is a good fit for your school and students. If it does not match, it should not be used. Fortunately, in Texas, the state has created a list of approved test instruments. Let me give you an example of how important the match to norms is. One of my professors asked me to write a review of a preschool test instrument. It was created in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Ironically, I had just visited this wonderful town, greatest bass fishing in the world, when my husband was considering a job offer there. Anyhow, I visited their preschool facility, and it was outstanding. back to the test. It was wonderful for preschoolers. It covered all the developmental domains, well written and thorough and easy to use. The one problem was the norm sample. It included blacks and whites, urban and rural. So in our review, we had to address the flaw in the norm sample. It was not representative of the national population. What would this mean to me as a preschool special educator in Tucson, Arizona? This instrument would be rejected because it did not include Hispanic Americans or Native Americans. Those students were in my class. Using norms correctly is extremely important. If we professionals use norms incorrectly, then our data is incorrect, or interpretations are false, and our decisions will be flawed. Here are the 3 principles of using norms correctly. Concerning Principle 1, we must use the test only when the norm sample matches the population that we are testing. Concerning Principle 2, we must use the true student's chronological age when looking at test results of a student. Then we can compare how one student does compared to average scores for the student's same age. That is the correct use of norms. Here's an example of incorrect use of norms. A parent may come in and say, "I know my child is 16, but with her cognitive problems, we all know she functions as an 8-year-old, so please tell me how she compares to 8-year-olds. We then have to explain that using the test that way would actually create a false profile for that child. Number 3, tests lose their power to discriminate near the extremes of the distribution. We will look at that in the next slide. Concerning Principle 3, remember the curve that was created on the graph representing extrapolation and interpolation of data? We talked about it earlier. When the data graph shows scores for 2 age groups that were actually tested, we infer results for age groups that were not really tested. On the inside, interpolation, of the 2 groups that were actually tested, we can have more confidence in those protected scores. The extrapolated scores on the 2 extremes, the younger and the older age groups, were not actually tested. Those test scores have less power to discriminate from one age to another. The concept of quality norms is simple. The test author and publisher are responsible for using a large norm group with appropriate representativeness and report the norms using reliability and validity studies for each of the different groups. In our next lesson, we will examine the Dial 3 norms to help you see norming in action. But remember, if the norms are poor, we should not use the test instrument because the results will be skewed and misinterpretations will follow, which lead to incorrect or poor decisions for a student. Seriously, would you buy a broken clock and use it? No. Then don't buy a broken test. Why did the chicken cross the road? To avoid becoming a statistic. Remember, quality assessment and quality descriptive statistics inform quality decisions, and that quality begins with your professionalism. Thanks for listening.